morning and welcome back to Planner Craft. I'm Natalie and today we're going to have something a little bit different. So I'm actually going to be doing a bit of an unboxing video. So first of all, before I go too far, let's just do a few quick hellos. So hi Tracy, and hopefully you've managed to all find us with the time change with the clocks and things. I'll give it a few moments just so that everybody gets their notifications. And hi Deb. Now today I'm going to be doing an unboxing of a very exciting box I got from Cre8 Tapes. Now this is filled with lots and lots of tape. Now everybody who knows me knows I'm a bit of a washi addict. So this is like kid in a sweet shop. So, hello Mum. Let's go. And I'm just going to flick onto multi-stream as well, just in case there's anybody watching on YouTube as well. So, I'm going to save the big box till last, I think. I'm going to start off with the same way that I started off when I actually unwrapped this lovely box, and that's with the ones that are on the top. So, we have a range of glow-in-the-dark tape. So, these are the colours. So in the middle you can see you've got your typical glow-in-the-dark material. So that's going to give you your normal kind of glow. But then we have 4 coloured ones as well. So while these are intended for other uses, we can use those in our crafting projects. So of course with Halloween yesterday, it's kind of a really good one for that. But I thought later this week I'm going to do a firework card, so you can see those in action, and then we can charge those up and I'll take some pickies at night so you can see those glowing. So, lovely full collection that we have here. And morning Laura, morning Leah. There are also some lovely metallic tapes. So we have a gold, a blue, and a red. Now the red I've already used on a sample, so you'll be seeing that one coming up later this week, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So it's not in your face red, it's like a nice deep red, which is going to be perfect for Christmas. Okay, so rather than piling up my desk, I am trying to stay on top of it, just because there's an awful lot. The next set are holographics. So these are just stunning. So we've got your typical gold and silver, but the colours are where I think they really do pop. So you've got this nice holographic blue, another deep red, and then we've got this gorgeous purple. So you can guess who's coloured that one already. That is not my tape. It's definitely Ian's. Now, while we're covering specialist tape, we have something that is really unique to them that I haven't seen anywhere else, and that's these, which are called Illuminate. So these are self-adhesive, but they're also reflective. So let's see if I can get those to come across on screen for you a bit better. So we've got lots of colours. If I show you in the white, let's actually open that one up so you can see it a bit better. Oh, I'm going to mess up their packaging there. Something on it. There we go. So it has this hexagonal pattern on it, but it's light reflective. So hopefully you can see that coming across. There we go. On the screen. But you have it in all these colours as well. So that means that you could do that onto a water bottle if you wanted to. If you wanted to do it onto a backpack, you may find that you just need to just do a little bit of stitching too, just to make sure it stays put. But that's those, and they're really, really nice. Now I have all this in a big tub. I just couldn't get it back in the box. So next we have some masking tape. So we have lots of colours. Now the idea being that rather than using this for your typical masking projects, it's actually there to do decor projects. So it's all removable adhesive, and you can actually decorate walls with it. But obviously we'll show you some different ideas for what we can do with that. So you get lots of colours. So you've got 2 shades of blue. There's a black, grey, green, red, as well as your standard white. So that is your biggie. Now we're going to be coming back to those in a bit, because we have lots and lots of boxes of different sizes in it too. Now, finally, before we get onto boxes, we have Gaffer Tape. Now you may be thinking, Natalie, you're a crafter. What on earth are you going to use Gaffer Tape for? Well, there are a few uses I can think of, and I'm sure if you really put your mind to it, I'm sure you can think of some too. Like mats, that's all I'm saying. But you can also use them wherever you need something that is ultra sticky. So if you want to decorate something where you know you're having an issue with it sticking to it, then these might be your go-to. And morning, Sally. So now for the really arty bits. First of all, and you can go, we have some iridescent tape. So this is a bit like the tech wrap vinyl that I really like, but it's in a tape form. So that means that we can start to add borders and things to our projects. You can use it for your wrapping too, but that might be a bit boring. You could also use them on things like your 3D projects as well. So where you want to add a bit of detailing, and it's nice and easy to use tape to do that. So that one's really nice. And I'm going to start leaving these on the desk so you can see them all together. Then we have glitter tape too. So we have purple, red or rust, gold, silver, green and blue. And these are really nice. So again, I'm going to get that close to the camera so you can see those. So these are like the non-shed glitter cards that you use in your machine. So again, if you wanted to, you can apply these to card and cut through them, or just use them as a decoration in and of themselves. Then we have, I'm going to try and do all 3 boxes at once, because these are all your different whips. So these are all the same colours that you saw in the masking tape, but we have the different whips, right down to this one, which is probably my new favourite. So you know, if you are doing things like a vellum overlay and you just need to hide a little bit of adhesive that maybe is peeking out the side, that is when these can come in and do a lovely finishing touch to your project. So particularly if you are covering a card with pattern paper and you've wrapped it around your fold so you get a nice neat finish, sometimes you just need that something just to finish off that edge so it doesn't look too homemade rather than handmade. Then that's when our borders can come in and help us there. Then as we move up, we get a little bit thicker, so these are sort of in the region of 4 mil, I think. 6 mil, there you go. So the thin one is 3, that one is 6, and this one is 12, so just over a centimetre. And they are going to be so fun to play with. So I'm going to be using those on 3. And finally, you can get a tape art kit. Now, this one has been coloured by an Ian. So, he's going to show you something that he's going to do with this one. And inside, when you get it, you have a little bit of an instruction sheet. And you have ruler, scissors, pencil and 12 rolls of tape. So again, these are the masking tapes for you to play with. So as I said, Ian's going to be doing something with that one, but you can get that one from them direct. So I'm sure with all those marvellous tapes, your imagination is now going, oh, actually that you could do that if you thought about doing this. To move these to one side so I have a bit of a space to work in, and I am going to go for, let's keep one of the thin ones out. I'm going to have a 12mm, and let's go for a special effect one, so I'm going to go for the iridescent tape for this one. Okay, put those up there for a minute. And off to one side, I've already done a paper pierce background that we're going to be working with. And I'm also going to do a little bit of stamping. So, first of all, I'm going to grab my trimmer. Like so. And I'm just going to quickly measure my card. So my background is about 13 centimetres, so I'm going to need a strip of card that is 13 centimetres. Now this strip is actually much longer than I need, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my stamping first, and then I can move it around as I need to. So I'm going to grab my stamping platform. And pop in my strip so that it's going to be vertically in there. So although I'm working kind of a funny angle for my stamp platform, but that's so that you can see better. Morning, Carol. Don't worry, you can always catch up later with the unboxing section. So with this now in place, I'm going to grab a stamp. So I'm going for a nice floral design, and this one's by Chocolate Baroque. So let's go and pop this here. So what I'm looking for is creating a kind of pattern that we can use underneath our paper piercing. So let's pick that one up, and I'm going to go for, just because I want it to dry quick, the squid ink. Okay, I'm going to stamp that, and if you're happy with your impression, you can pick your stamp up and we can move it. So I'm going to go kind of there, and again we can ink her up and stamp again. Okay, so I'm thinking that my background I'm going to cut at a slight angle, so just make sure you've got enough to kind of give you space to work in. Now I'm going to rotate my strip round because I want to stamp just one image on its own that we can use to scan with. So I'm just going to peel that off, place that where I need it. Now bear in mind you want to make sure that it's in from that edge, just so that we can do our direct cut. And let's ink and stamp. Okay, so with that done, we can take out the strip of card. And now we can do a little bit of planning. So for starters, I'm just going to cut this image off roughly. Like so. And I'm going to set that to one side. So now I can just work on the strip. And I want it to go sort of across that way. So if I kind of offer this up so that I can see where I'm marking this. And let's go there and get a pencil. Just so you can see this a little bit stronger. I'm going to do it in pen, but you can do it in pencil. And I'm going to go mark that there. Now you want to move this across, try and keep it as level as you can, even if your card's misbehaving. Move it across this way so that I can see roughly where I need to go to make sure that I'm staying within that image. So I'm going to take that down to about there. So our 2 points are at a slight angle to one another. Now I can use the line on my trimmer to line up those 2 points, like so. And there we go. Okay. So when that's there like that, and like that, you can see that that entire section has a design in it. But what I'm going to do, rather than just leaving it like that, is I'm actually going to put a little bit of a border in. So if we slide this up to a point where we're happy with the amount of border that we're leaving, so I want to try and cover up some of this white space in here, then we can actually use our tape to fill in the gap. And morning Judith, morning Ruth. And sorry if hellos seem a little delayed, it's because you're behind me. So I do turn around and check every so often. So when we've paper pierced, if you turn it over, you can see you've got a bit of a raised surface. So what I would say is, rather than trying to use wet glue for this, you're going to want to use either some red liner tape or some glue dots, something that isn't going to mind that textured surface. So let's go for some red liner tape. Now if you want to know more about the paper piercing, there is a video that I've done on that. I don't tend to show backgrounds that I pierce, just because time. They are quite time consuming, so typically a background will take between 20 to 40 minutes to pierce in its entirety. you do want to press down all your tape just so it has a good seal to that card. Now I'm just going to peel off the tape that we've got on this angled edge, just because in case your particular design you find that you actually go above this edge here, because the last thing you want to do, having done all your lovely paper piercing, is weld it to your cutting mat. So I'm just going to line this up roughly where I think I want it. So I want a little bit more white space. And I'm going to go there. So you're aiming to keep it nice and straight. If it does go off at slightly at an angle, don't worry, you can always trim it back up. But just for now. So I'm going to do the same again with this bottom section. Nearly there. Give it all a good press round. So again, just going to unpeel this angled side, and let's line up again. So you want to try and keep that edge straight to the cut edge of your card, like so. Okay. So now we can start to apply our tape. So I'm going to go for a little bit of the iridescent, I think, first. So let's test out, see which colour I think. So you've got the sort of red tinted one. You've got more of a clear iridescent, white iridescent, and a green. So I think the green might actually look quite interesting. So I'm just going to pull that back, and I'm going to use the edge of my pierce section to actually align my tape. So if we pull that taut, hopefully we can get that so it just lines up. Now it is quite forgiving, so if you do go wrong, don't panic too much. Okay, so there's one. I'm just going to pop that there for a minute because I don't want to lose my end. So I'm just going to do it a little bit and stick that back underneath. There we go. Saves me going, where's me? Where's the end of my tape gone? So next I'm going to pull out which colour should I go for? Let's go for a grey for a change. with the end. Will be there somewhere. Can be a bit difficult to see the ends of these ones, so I'm just going to gently unravel that. Now I'm going to pop a little borderline that's going to go right up against this edge too. Again, if you manage to go a little bit wonky with that first bit of tape, and this next borderline can actually hide that for you. And you might decide actually just to keep it in that same style. We're going to put a little grey one at the top, and let's go for the yellow. So when you open a new roll, it has a little bit of a blue label over the top. And again, I'm going to slide that up to that grey border. And we can place that down there. So you'll notice when I'm doing my tape, I'm actually overlapping the edges, and that's so that we can actually wrap that around so you get a nice neat edge rather than trying to cut it. So I'm just going to run my finger along, make sure all those edges are down nice and neat. Okay, I'm going to gently lift that up. And you'll see that they are quite sticky. And we're going to wrap that around there. I'm going to wrap this around here. And wrap it around here. So next we can decide how much of that strip we want to keep. So if you want to cut into it right along this edge, you can do. That's why we didn't stick anything down yet, but nothing is set in stone. If you go, well, actually I quite like that as it is, you just need to trim off the excess on this edge. So I think, in the interest of speed, I'm just going to roughly chop off that back piece. Doesn't have to be neat. So there's our strip. So next what you would do is just take off the red tape, except for these bits, and adhere that to the front of your card. But one thing I just wanted to chat about very quickly is a question that we got asked on YouTube, and that was about how to set the scan so that it only does a 12x6 section of the mat. Now, Ian in his infinite wisdom has run off with my second camera, otherwise known as his phone. So I'm going to talk you through it. So hopefully if you have your machine in front of you, you'll be able to understand what I'm doing. So grab your cutting mat. To pick the wrong one. Oh, let's see it. Actually, I will go for the other one, just because it's easier. And there we go. It says we have to clean a second one. There we go. I'm just going to quickly give it a quick once over with a lint roller. And we're going to take our stamped image and we're going to line it up on the 1 inch mark. Now the question I got asked is how you set it up so it's going to just scan the top 6 inches of your mat. So what you're going to do is you're going to wake up your machine. You're going to take your mat and offer it up to the machine. Load it in. I'm going to lower my scan bar to position 1, ready for scanning. I'm going to go to scan. Now, because I'm cutting directly out of this card, we're going to use direct cut, but the instructions are going to be the same even if you want to use scan to cut data. You're going to tap on direct cut. You're going to select the machine. Then it comes up to the screen where it asks you if you want to do colour or black and white. And there's a little spanner. If you press on the spanner, you'll see it's got recognition mode at the top of the next screen, which is black and white or colour. But underneath you have one that says scan area. Now if you tap on the scan area, you are then going to see a list of options. So you have 12 by 6, 12 by 12, 12 by 18, 12 by 24, depending on which mat you are using. Okay, so to do a 12 by 6 scan, all you're going to do is tap on that 12 by 6 at the top, go OK. And because it's a black and white image, I'm going to use black and white, and hopefully that should be okay. We can then click start, and it is just going to scan that top 6 inches. Now firstly, this makes it quicker to scan, it makes it quicker to process, and obviously if you haven't got anything else on the rest of the mat, what's the point in it all going through and coming back out again? So now we can go OK, and we can frame our image as normal. We can go to preview, which is then going to give us our cut line. We can go OK. Then we can use offset to actually create a border around our image. So if I move the camera slightly, let's drop it down, there we go. So what we're doing is we're putting a white border all the way around this image. And that means that if you do have any glitches in your scan, it should smooth them out. Now obviously the more of a border you put on, the smoother it's going to be. So the minimum if you're on millimetres is 1 millimetre. But I'm going to just go out to 2, I think. And we can let that cut. So I'm going to go please select, cut. Check all the settings are correct, and off it goes. It's very quiet today. Okay, so with that done, check that's all cut okay, and we can peel off our image. Now you will find it easier with things like this to use that metal spatula. So there is our cut out stamped image. And we can pop that onto our card. So what I'm thinking is with our stamped image, we're going to apply some colour and leave this back panel black and white. So, who would like me to show you some colouring? And then we can carry on. So So I'm going to go OK and unload the mat. And let's move that gun back. There we go. So I do have some ink tenses here if you'd like to see some watercolouring. But I hope that's given you a different idea for how we can start to use tapes with our crafting. So I'm just going to grab a watercolour brush and a little clean pot of water. Now, because this isn't watercolour card, I'm not going to use too much water. So, let's do a little bit of a mix. There we go. So I'm going to pick up some of the orange. I'm just going to use some of that. Now, if we do our darker areas first, then we can always come back and blend after. So I'm just following the lines of the stamp as to where I'm going to do the shading. Now we do have our drawing class starting tomorrow. So if you're interested in that, please do have a look on the group and get signed up ready. And I do find it easier, specifically on smaller items like this, where you've got lots of different directions, to actually rotate my work, rather than trying to force my wrist to go into places that it shouldn't really. So I'm just going to then give my brush a little wash out. Try and get as much water out of it as possible. Then we're just going to use what's left in that brush just to blend out just a little. So because it's ink tense, once it starts to dry, it's permanent. So you won't get a perfect blended out image, but it gets there eventually. And I'm just going to pop a little bit more on the edge there. Just so we start to feel like our flower is actually curling and bending. I'm just going to add a little bit more shading just on that section there. So normally when it comes to colouring, I will do it before I do the cutting out, but sometimes you want to do it the other way around. Especially if it's a really complex image. Or if your machine's misbehaving. And just going to pop that in there. This is very quick colouring. So what I'm going to do, once I've done these main flowers, is start to bring in the colours from those tapes. So we're going to have some lemons and some greens that we can actually introduce. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Now I've done those, I'm just going to give my brush a little wash. And the lemon that we have in our tape is actually quite zingy, so let's go full on. Now for the next bit, I'm just going to bear in mind which way round I want to put this. I'm just going to double check, and I think I'm going to put it this way so that we've got our boughs of our flowers that are dangling rather than standing upright. And that's going to help us when it comes to how we're going to do the shading. So this is very quick, very rough shading. If you want to do something a little bit more precise, you can do. And I'm going to do the same over here. So don't be afraid to use the lines on your stamp to actually help you out with where your shading should go. I'm going to get most of that paint out and most of the water too. I'm just going to blend that like so. And you can see I'm really not being fussy. Because all it's there to do is just take that whiteness off. You soften that highlight. Okay, so now I can pick up a bit more of that yellow, and we can go and do the inside of our flowers. Okay, and our greens have like a bluey, almost sea green quality to them. So let's go for something that reflects that for our leaves. So because the colour's a little stronger, I'm just going to water that down just a touch. And let's go for, I've used a mix of Ionian green and turquoise to try and get that kind of feel of our tape. So let's just have a go and see how that goes. You can always go darker, it's a bit more difficult to go lighter, especially on a thinner card like this. Okay. So I'm going to start off by applying a fairly flat layer of colour. And this will be kind of the lighter tones in our leaves. Then we can come back and do the darker shades after. So for those of you that did the watercolour class last year, I'm using the number 4. going to go back into my paint, pick up a little bit more of that turquoise, I think. So this is going to be a little bit stronger. You want to take this close round the flower, and then we can follow the veins in our leaves. So close round the flower and follow the veins of the leaves. If there's bits that you think are curling, you can use your dark tone to have that curl too. So I'm just going to pop a little bit down there. Now when you first do your first two leaves and the rest are still plain, it's going to look like it's a little bit wrong, but keep going with it. Don't panic just yet. Going to take that around there. Now in here it would definitely be dark, so take a little bit around there. And this leaf actually curls around, so I'm just going to pop a little bit underneath that curl, so it starts to feel like it's got this bit that's coming over the top. I'm also going to pop a bit more shadow colour up round by the stem, just to push it back, like so. And if as you're working on this you're thinking it needs to go a little bit darker, then don't be afraid to add just a little bit more of that turquoise colour. And then there's a tiny little bit of a fraction of a leaf there. I'm just going to pop a little colour in there. So again, round by the flower, we're going to go darker. And that's just going to help lift those flowers up from that background. Take that round there, on there. Now with this one, what I'm going to do is bear in mind it's going to go, so these are hanging like so. The curl, which you see here, is going to be where it's darkest, so we're going to put a line of our dark colour just there, and then we can put another bit just there, so we get this feeling of something that's curling like a little bowl. Okay. So I'm going to pick up some Payne's Grey that I'm going to add to that same mix. So I haven't cleaned my brush. I'm just going to go on and do this stem. So we're not going black, but it's going to be darker. And this is where you can start to see if there's bits that you just think need to make a bit more sense. You can use that to deepen the contrast as well. And it just helps that stem then blend in to the leaf and actually makes it look like the leaf is growing from that stem rather than just being stuck on top of it. I'm going to do the same over here with this one. And there. So this is a good point just to bring that background back in and just check that it's as strong as it needs to be, or if you know you need to go a bit stronger. Like So I think with that I'm quite happy with it. So you may choose to use some of the tech wrap vinyl to do a sentiment for your card. You might choose to use some holographic card instead, or you might just use a matte die cut, so it doesn't contrast too much with the gorgeous tape that we've used. Oh dear, Carol. Right, Carol, if it's really sticky, then the best thing you can do is grab an old t-shirt that's fluffy, or that sort of material, and just tap it all over the top. That way you can defudge your clothes at the same time. But yeah, if it's that way too sticky like Ian did, then that's how you get around it. If it is ultra sticky and a t-shirt just isn't going to do the job, then you could get a jumper or a tea towel and do it that way, so that you de-tack it a little bit more. But start off with a t-shirt and test that first. But if then when you come to take the t-shirt off you think, no, that's still sticking, then you can go with something a little bit more fluffy. So I hope you've enjoyed that this morning and seen a few different things to make you go, oh, might be on the naughty step. Then do let me know. It is something that we can get in stock as well, which is cool. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. So tomorrow I am thinking it would be really nice to do something a little bit different. So we are going to do cutting out from card. So rather than making a design that actually comes out sort of off your mat in one piece, what we're going to do is actually have something that cuts into your card, which is something we haven't really shown much. So it's going to be lots of detailed pieces, but it's going to actually cut out of the card blank. And then we're also going to talk about using inserts in your cards as well. So have a great day today, and I will see you back here tomorrow at 11. So for those of you that are outside the UK, the clocks have just changed, so we were at 11 today, so it'll be the same time. And have fun. Any questions in the meantime, you know where to find me. Take care. Bye.